Okay, we're back in Pro Tools. This is the sample song When You Rain, and we're starting off with the kick drum. We just have a single kick drum track right here, and look at this EQ. It's starting to look pretty familiar, right? We have our fundamental that we're going through around 70 Hertz in this place, scooping out some of the boxiness. That might be just a little wider, I would say. And then we have the snap of the kick drum. Let's have a listen. Might be a little heavy on the low end. Okay, so let's bypass that and have a listen. So it's flat. And then we'll drop it in. Much punchier, right? So I think I've said this a few other times. The boosting of the low end is good, but you can bring up the perceived loudness of a kick drum by adding a little slap or snap around 2K, something like that. And if it's a little different on your system, then just slide that frequency around until that pops right out. In this mix, it was around 2.4, and it is right there. So in this track, we just have a single snare track, just one microphone on the top of the snare, and it starts off with a flam. And that's working against the kick if we solo this as well. And then when the hi-hats come in, it's just a single snare drum hit, and then you can see down here that we're going to go into side stick. So in terms of this snare drum being these side sticks being able to kind of poke their head through the mix, that is a job with compression. In fact, in the compression master class and compression limiters and gates, we go over an example of how to really get a side stick to sit in a mix without popping these snare drum hits, right out into distortion. Anyway, but we're talking about EQ right now. So let's go to the top of this part of the track here, and you can see what I've done here. First things first, I've done a high pass filter. I could probably afford to make that a little steeper. And then the first thing I'll go after is I call it tubbiness, or the body of a snare, and that's typically around 200 Hertz. So let's have a listen to what that sounds like. Hear how that's kind of the low end of that snare drum? If we were to pull it out, it would sound very, very thin. So there's a little boost there. Then around 1K, you have a bit of a snap right there, and then we have a sheen on top, and maybe that might be a little bit more like 6K. So this is what this sounds like. Let me go back to the top here, and we'll listen to that bypassed. It's flat, and then with our EQ. Let's hear that with the kick drum. Great, our mix is starting to take shape. Spend a lot of time on your kick and snare in terms of your drums.